So today we are going to talk about three very important terms when it comes to analysis of the sample. And all this discussion is going to happen in the context of out of specification or OS. So what are these three terms? So these three terms are: one is repeat testing, the second one is retesting, and the third one is additional testing. So we are going to understand what is the meaning of each this term and when these three activities can be used during the investigation of OAS. So let us begin our discussion with the first term, that is the repeat testing. Now this repeat testing is also called as a remeasurement. So let me first explain you when this testing is needed. So for example, you encountered with out of specification result and you need to identify the root cause behind the OS, whether it is the laboratory error. And for that, you are going to conduct the investigation. The investigation is for identifying the root cause. So without conducting experiment, you may identify only obvious errors like calculation error, or maybe the instrument parameter errors, or the sample spillage errors, etc. But for example, you are not able to conclude that these are the errors which have caused out of specification, then you need to conduct the experiment further to identify the assignable root cause. And how you are going to conduct the experiment? According to many regulators like US FDA, UK MHRA, you're supposed to not make any new sample for the investigation, because there is a chance that sometimes analysts may tend to make some manipulations to get the result within the specification. So you are not allowed to make any fresh solution from its beginning, and hence the repeat testing comes into the play. So what is the definition of repeat testing? And here is onto your screen. So repeat testing is nothing but a prompt testing of retained stable solution of the sample. You are allowed to make some testing by using the original solutions that you have prepared and which is found to be stable, which is found to be valid during conducting the experiment. So repetition of one or more sample preparation steps are allowed during the repeat testing, but remember one thing, that you supposed to not make your stock solution freshly. Means repetition of one or more sample preparation steps except sample addition or weighing. That means you are not allowed to make the original solution one more time. If the original solution is available and which is stable, then you may further use that solution for identifying the root cause. So now let us understand what use you can, or how you can use these available solutions for further experimentation, and here are the different ways of doing it. The first one is you can use the solution for redilution. In case if you are doubting that the dilution is not done properly, if you are doubting that the pipetting error could be the reason for your out of specification result, you can redilute the available solution one more time and then understand whether yes, the dilution was the real root cause for this OS. What is the second example of repetition or the repeat testing? It is the re-injection of solution. So in case if you are conducting the chromatographic method, for example by HPLC, and if you found that the out of specification result could be because of the instrument or equipment malfunctioning, which is called as a transient error. So the transient error looks to be the root cause, then you can re-inject the same HPLC vial one more time and then understand whether now the re-injected results are within the specification. So it is very difficult to justify and prove the transient equipment malfunction. But you can certainly try to explain with the help of certain chromatographic characteristics like deviation into a baseline can be the result of presence of air bubble during the injection. In that situation, the re-injection of solution can be taken place, and this is the example of repeat testing. The third one is re-extraction of available solution. So in case if you are doubting that the extraction was not happened properly and that is the result for the out of specification result, then you can re-extract the same available solution one more time, dilute it suitably according to the test procedure, and then understand whether the re-extracted sample has resulted into a result which is the within the specification. That is can be let us say if your extraction technique is sonication time. So if the sonication was not done properly, you can resonicate the available solution for one more time for extended time hours and then understand whether the result is within the spec or not. The same thing can be applicable for the stirring of the sample as well. What is the fourth example of repeat testing? And it is the refiltration of available sample. So in case if you are doubting that the filtration was not done properly and because of that the result was out of specification. So you can use the same available solution for filtration one more time. In case if the filter paper was used wrong, in case if the filter paper was not saturated properly as per your test procedure, you can refiltrate the available solution by taking utmost precaution this time and understand whether the filtration technique or filter paper was the reason for the out of specification. So I hope you now must be clear what is meant by repeat testing. The second important term is the retesting. So let us understand the definition of retesting, and we are discussing all these definitions in the context of out of specification. So what is the definition of retesting? Repetition of the analysis on the original sample or resample. Repetition of the analysis means what? You are going to conduct the entire sample preparation one more time freshly. The way we explained in the repeat testing that the original sample was used for the analysis. But in the retesting case, you are allowed to make the sample one more time by using the sample which is available in the lab, or either in case if the sample is not available in the lab, or in case if the sample integrity is in the question, then the same batch can be resampled one more time, and then by using that resampled quantity you can make the entire preparation freshly, and this is called as the retesting. So what we understood now, in case of retesting, we actually going to repeat all sample preparation steps, including sample addition or sample weighing. So if you remember that the definition of repeat testing is what? You can make the sample preparation except its sample addition or sample weighing. But in case of retesting, you're supposed to make all the sample preparation stages. You're supposed to use all sample preparation stages, including the sample addition or weighing. So it is as good as making another solution, another sample solution from its beginning. But how this can be used? When the retesting can be used? Can it be used for the investigation purpose? Can it be used to identify the root cause? Most of the time, answer to this question is no. But there are certain exceptions, certain reasons which may allow you to use the retesting. So, what are those conditions? And let us talk about these four important conditions. The fifth point is a little different, and I will explain this when we talk about these four important points. Now, all these four initial points related to retesting of the sample during the investigation. So, what is the point number one? In case if your stock solution itself is prepared wrongly, that means your original solutions is itself is prepared wrongly. Then how you can use that same solution for further investigation? You cannot. And for that reason, you can use the retesting. So what should be the reason for the wrong preparation? For example, your weight itself is wrong. You're supposed to measure, let us say, 20 milligram of the sample, but somehow analysts have taken 40 milligram of the sample weight. So for that reason, your stock is prepared wrongly, and you are allowed to make the retesting. And you are investigating now. Your investigation is not completed. You are investigating what? The root cause behind the observed OS. The second reason which can help you to conduct the retesting, in case if the stock is contaminated, see your all results relies onto the integrity of your stock solution. And in case if the stock solution itself is contaminated, then how you can ascertain the further out of specification finding? You will not. And for that reason, you can make the another solution from its origin, that is called as a retesting, and then understand what is the reason behind the out of specification. The third reason, if the stock is unstable, in case if you are conducting the analysis after a day, and if you found that the validity of the stock solution is only a day or 24 hours, will you be able to conclude anything if you use that particular stock solution after a day or after 24 hours? You will not. You can get the unnecessary misleading result. So to avoid that situation, you can make the retesting even for the investigation purpose. That is more important. And the another point can be, if stock with non-homogeneous sample, I mean you are doubting onto the homogeneity of your sample. Now, what is the importance of the homogeneity? Your sample quantity must represent your entire lot or batch. But if that is not getting represented, if your sample is not itself homogeneous, maybe in the terms of its content, its size, its weight, then how you can rely on to such result? Your sample needs to be homogeneous to rely on to your result. But in case if that condition is not met, in case if your sample itself is non-homogeneous, then what is the action? You can sample the lot one more time, identify whether the sample tool is appropriate or not. In case if the tool is at the fault, you can replace the tool, make the necessary correction, and then sample the lot one more time. Use that sample quantity or use that resample quantity for retesting of this batch, and then understand whether now the results are within the spec or not. So I hope you understand now in what case the retesting can be conducted even during the investigation purpose. Now once you conclude the root cause, you understand what is the correction or corrective action you need to take. For example, let us say you understand that the analysts have used wrong filter paper during the reporting of the out of spec result. Now, what is the corrective action you are going to do? You are going to say that now the analysis must be repeated by using the actual filter paper mentioned into the standard test procedure. And this is your corrective action plan now. So now you are going to analyze the available sample solution in the lab by using correct filter paper. Now this is called as the need to understand what is the actual reportable value. Now when this is done after concluding the root cause, after understanding where analysts have made the mistake, and after that you are going to take utmost precaution to make sure that the same error will never reoccur one more time. You already identified the root cause, but you need to also understand, right, what is the reportable value for this particular batch. And for that reason you can conduct the retesting from the initial onwards, but by using the sample available in the lab. And that is the point number 5. If root cause is identified, and just to know the reportable value, the retesting of the sample must be done. I hope now you are clear in what situation condition the retesting of the sample can be sought out. Let us now understand the third term, that is called as the additional testing. See, what is the purpose of the investigation? It is to identify the root cause behind the reported value. Whether the reported value is because of the lab error or is it because of the manufacturing error. But just imagine, in case if there is no lab error identified, just imagine if there is no manufacturing error identified, then how you are going to concluding the fate of the batch? How you are going to make a decision onto the batch disposition? How you are going to make a decision either on releasing the batch or rejecting the batch? It is totally unclear. And for that reason, what regulators are suggesting, you can conduct some more additional retesting. See, you have conducted the testing for one time while reporting the original result, and that data may be outlier for some reason that you are not clear at this point. So what you can do is you can conduct some more testing, and that some more testing which is actually going to determine the disposition of the batch is called as the additional testing, right? So let us understand. Retesting to decide batch disposition when no root cause is identified. So the additional testing is nothing but the another type of retesting. And we explained with the greatest detail what is mean by retesting. So how this additional testing can be conducted. So we are going to talk about these 7 important points which you must consider during conducting the additional testing. Use original sample, right? In case if there is no need to resample the quantity, and if the sample available in the lab is sufficient for conducting the additional testing, you're supposed to use the same sample. Even in case if the crushed tablet powder is available, you should not crush another tablet, but you should use the crushed tablet powder for the additional testing. Perform all testing in presence of expert or the head of the department. Now, the purpose is what? Whether the analyst is taking utmost precaution. Someone has to also reassure that yes, the utmost precaution have been taken. And for that reason, it is also important to conduct the additional testing in supervision of the expert or the head of the department. Now, how to conduct the additional testing? Can I decide to select the number of preparations? Can I conduct the additional testing according to my understanding and the knowledge? The answer is clearly no. The additional testing must be conducted with the help of approved protocol from your quality control unit. Now, in case if we have started the additional testing and we have said that let us prepare seven preparations, let us conduct seven measurement, and for some reason I found that the seventh result is not within the spec. All six results are within the spec, but for some reason the seventh result is found out of the spec. And I understand that, there could be possibility that this, if I test the product for one more time, the result will meet the spec. Can I do that? Clearly no. So in case the number of preparations are clearly defined, no one can deviate from that number of preparations. So you need to follow the exact protocol. And how many number of preparations are suggested? It's up to the quality control unit. How many preparations are suitable? Maybe based on to the root cause or maybe based on to the situation. Some hypothesis. But in case if you want to understand the regulator's requirement or suggestions, MHRA says that the 5 or 7 or 9 retest can be considered. Now, who shall conduct the retest? So, who has conducted the or who has reported the out of specification result? That analyst becomes probably the more critical person as you are not clear about the any of the root cause. In case if the analyst error is the root cause, then probably the original analyst may not be preferred analyst during the retesting because the analyst itself is the root cause. So you can use the another suitable analyst. But in this case now, in additional test, you have not concluded any lab errors. So preferably, who must do the analysis? You should select the original analyst who has reported the OS, and you can also have the second analyst which is equally experts and qualified to conduct the analysis under the investigation, and who has to monitor and document and report all the results. I mean, it must be reported and documented in the strict supervision of the person who is responsible for the review or the quality control head. So I hope you are now clear. You must be clear about these three very important terms. And the reason I made video onto this is because of the sometimes people get confused between repeat testing, retesting, and the additional testing. Thank you so much.